Okay, hello YouTubers. It's been a very long time since I've done a video, but I thought this one was worthy of spending some time on. Since Red Power Pre 5 has come out, a lot of new blocks have been introduced. Now the most important one to me at the moment is the assembler. This allows a compact design for the Flax farm, the common Flax farm that everyone knows so well. Flax farm, for those who don't know, is very beneficial when coupled with Equivilent Exchange, because it provides a lot more EMC than you put into it. You use one piece of flax seeds, and then you use a bone meal on it, and the amount you get out is way superior to the amount you put in when converted back to EMC. So for those who don't know, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by showing the basic level 1 flax farm that everyone knows and loves, and then I'll show you how it's upgraded with Red Power Pre 5. Okay, so for those who are not familiar with the parts of Red Power, basically what we need is two deployers, which are created like so with chests and pistons. Now what deployers do is pretty much what they say. If you put them down somewhere and you grab a lever or a button or anything with a redstone signal, it will deploy any item it's got in its inventory, starting at the top left first. If it works like if you right click that item, so it doesn't work with normal items like that, but if you use something like flint and steel, then it's just as if you've right clicked with flint and steel, for example. Now this works very well with bone meal, which we use for this kind of project that we're going to be doing here. So yeah, let's just get rid of that. So first thing you need to know about flax is flax will not grow on normal ground like this. What you need is irrigated ground, so you have to wait for that to become irrigated. There we go. So now you can plant flax seeds on it. Oh, I got two back just from doing that, that's handy. Right, the next thing you're going to need to do is, in case you haven't guessed, grab the deployer and in that put flax seeds. That way, every time a redstone signal goes through to that, it will deploy a flax seed. The next thing you're going to need to do, because that's not much use on its own, is get another deployer set up like that and put bone meal in it. This way, if you put a delay in the circuit, then it will deploy the seeds and then it will bone meal them instantly and grow the plant. What we've got over here is the Red Power timer. Sorry, my texture pack hasn't got an update for Red Power yet, so it's low res standard. You've got the usual stone wires, anodes, cathodes and pointers, and that makes the timer, of which I've already got here. For those who are not familiar, a timer you can set to any time you want, even as slow as that. You can go up to hundreds of seconds if you really want to, and that will send out a redstone signal every time it hits. And that can be used either on normal redstone or on the redstone alloy that Red Power produces. So that's very useful for what you used to have to do. Obviously, is set up large systems of normal red alloy. Delays and repeaters and stuff. We also have Red Power based repeaters, which do the same job as normal repeaters, vanilla repeaters, except in my opinion they're a pain to make, but they're less materials and they have better numbers on them, if you know what I mean. Easier configuration. So if you put one of them down there, you can right click it to change the delay on it, or just put it all the way back to the beginning, and job done. Let's grab some red alloy then. Red alloy wire, because we're going to be needing that. For those who don't know about this as well, red alloy wire carries the signal of redstone 16 times further than normal redstone, and has the added bonus of being able to go up walls and onto ceilings even, which is very nice. So what you would do is you would connect up all of this like so, and that means when you send a signal through it, did I bin my lever? I think I did, didn't I? When you send a signal through it, oh, there it is, it will go normally and then apply the bone meal. So it would first trigger the seeds in here and then send the bone meal in afterwards. Let's just grab a few more of those, shall we? and obviously bone meal we're going to need to fill up again. Okay, that didn't go so well. Let's just grab stacks like that, that's better. Right, now, for those who are not familiar, obviously you'll be using Equivilent Exchange with this, otherwise there's no point in the farm. So you'll be able to make bone meal through this quite easily. Let's get rid of that, shall we? And you can get bones and bone meal that way, without any hassle. And that is quite essential for the last end product of this. So what you're thinking now is, obviously we've got 2 of these, we've got it planting, so now we need the block breakers to break them down afterwards. Now there's a few obvious small problems with these breakers, in that if you send a signal to both of them at exactly the same time, like you would of anything normally, then the bottom one will break the plant and the top bit will fall to pieces. Let me demonstrate. I really need an actual button as well. So they'd usually stick the stuff out the back, which is fair enough. Let me grab a button. That will make life easier. Okay, so there. See, it spits the normal one, the bottom segment, out the back, but the top segment just gets broken and sits around idly, so you can't actually use it like that. So let's get rid of these a sec. Let's add a chest to the loop so that we've got, let's add some pneumatic tubes as well actually. Grab a stack of them and send them off to a chest. That way at least we've got it working, something like what we would have end game wise, you know, once we've finished everything. So you would have the usual here. Let's just break that. In fact, let's put another lever button on that so that we can trigger it whenever we want, like so, and that would plant it like that without any issue. But then that would obviously break it, and half of them would go through the tube, half of them wouldn't, which is what I demonstrated before. So what we want to do is add a delay to the circuit so that the top one breaks before the bottom one. Now this can be done in numerous ways. It's usually quite messy the way I do it, but it works out perfectly for other people. Problem is, if you do something like this, then because that block there is still powered, I'll show you. Because the block underneath is still powered by these cables, it will still go at the same time. So what you need to do is find a way to get the cable to the top block without powering a bottom block. This is a very messy way of doing it, and I have lots of better ways, but this is just demonstration purposes. So now if let's put this button on the other side, shall we? There we go. So if we trigger that, that comes up, and then we need to trigger this. I will add the timer in a second. And you see it takes the top bit without any problems. Now what we need here is the delay in the circuit, like so. So that will link to that, and if we put a short delay like that on it, right, let's just demonstrate from the beginning again. If we put a short delay there, it will take the top one and then take the bottom one, as you just saw, and they will both go through the tubes without issue. There. Absolutely no problem, so it's completely automated now. Well, it's a start. What we need now is the red power timer. So we'll stick that on 2 seconds to start with, and what that's going to have to do is, let's put a lever behind it so we can switch it off. What that's going to have to do is it will trigger that and then trigger that like it was before, but then we need to wait a little while for it to trigger these ones, and these ones have to come from the same size as that, so let's just break these down a bit. Because obviously you can't have these triggering before the bit that's deploying the actual seed, otherwise there won't be anything there. So let's make it really rough like I did before. In fact, yeah, let's go out a bit here. Like so. And then we'll put the delay in. Let's move it further across. There are so many easier ways to do this. It's very messy the way I've got it laid out here. But what I'll do is just make it as as open plan as possible, so that you can see every last bit of what's going on. Oh, come on. There we go. Right, and then this delayed one would go to... Is it there? Yes. Right, let's grab some panels, shall we? Give me a second. Okay, so we can use the panels to separate out that bit there, and this bit here to make sure they don't interact. Oops, close enough. And then this delay would go back to there, into that. So let's test this. So it enables that, breaks both of them, and there we go, we have it working absolutely perfectly, although very messily. So that's going to keep on going as long as one of these has seeds and bone meal. That's definitely breaking both sides, yeah, because you can't see the top one, it goes so quick. Let's add a bit more of a delay. Actually, I think it happens at the same time because of this. What I sometimes do on my other circuits is add another delay here. So that's a little bit of a delay, and that's a bit more of a delay. That's better. And then you can see them in progress. There you go. It's much better, and you can keep an eye on things. Now, the second layout will need all of these to self-feed. So you want all of the seeds to go obviously back in here, otherwise you'll start to run out. Now the best way to do that is to fill up this like so. That way nothing will go in here except seeds. And then you can feed the pipes straight back past. There we go, past that. And what this means is if you then move it back to the chest like you were before, everything will still go through as if it's going to the chest, but any seeds that go past here will, as you can see, fill up this. Now it produces way more seeds than it actually uses up, so that will always be filled after a certain point. It takes a while to fill up, but once that's done, it's done. You don't have to worry about it taking the 1s and 2s from there, because it always takes from the top left slot first. So now everything that's left over goes back here. Still got some seeds from earlier. Now the only problem we've got to worry about is bone meal. And what we have to solve that, let's get this chest out of the way, shall we? Because that's making a right mess. Going all the way over there with cabling. This is, like I say, a very, very rough layout just to demonstrate what's going on. I've done much smoother, prettier layouts before. Okay, so everything that's going past here is not wanted anymore. Seeds will eventually carry on past once they've filled that up and produce more seeds than you need. So the next thing you want is an energy condenser from Equivilent Exchange. Now this is made using obsidian, diamonds and an alchemical chest which also uses diamonds, so it is not cheap. But it more than pays for itself once you have a good layout like this going on. So we don't have much in there at the moment. Break. I should have brought an axe with me. Right, so now we have an energy condenser. Now, if you put a bone meal there, anything that goes in here will be transmuted into bone meal, which means we now have our source of bone meal that we need. Let's get all of these in there as well. Now, the first thing to be broken appears at the top left like it should before, but sometimes if they all get used up and string and flax and stuff appear in the circuit in the first slot, then any kind of basic transposer that we'd use normally would take those instead, which we don't want. So what we do want instead is a filter, red power filter. Oops, typo. And those are quite basically made of pistons, gold ingots that are also expensive, and a red doped wafer. If you're not sure how to make a red doped wafer, it's a normal red power wafer that is put into an alloy furnace with what's it called, redstone. So once you've got a filter, what's the best way to place this? It's a very messy layout. You can place that there and make sure the only thing going through it is bone meal. Now let's do 16 of them to make sure we get a decent throughput. And let's put these very, very messy cables, like so. Make sure it goes up and over this mess. This, please don't ever use this layout. I'm just showing you how it works. And this would then go to this here. That's better. Hard to see the angles from down here. And any excess would come past. So basically you're going to send every item you've got spare into here to turn into bone meal, and then through here, past here. So all the bone meal will fill up this chest here, well not chest, this deployer here, and any spare will go straight past. And then what you can do is put another energy condenser, energy, right, spell it right, there we go, another energy condenser on the end of this loop. And that means only excess materials will go all the way to the end, and you could put whatever you want, a diamond, some iron, some buckets if you want in there. I usually tend to stick with a basic diamond because the amount of throughput you get is enough to give you a diamond every few seconds if you got it going right, but maybe not that extreme. Maybe a diamond every 20 seconds. So that's going strong. Right, so we add a redstone signal to this. You can link it straight into the original signal if you want. Let's grab a few more panels for that. I think we have enough. But if you want it to go a bit faster, like every half a second or something, then you can link it to a different timer. That's better. That's better. Move it back a bit. I think the same applies here, yep. There we go. Now every time it ticks, it will spit out 16 of these. Obviously we've got ample in there, so you could stick it to 16, 32, you can do 64 if you really want. You just got to make sure it doesn't use up these before it gets there. As long as you're spitting out a decent amount. Thing is, the slower the ticking that you're using, i.e. this 2-second tick, the slower it goes, the less often this will tick. So if you're just using one at a time, then it will you'll never get through all of them because it'll be producing them faster than it's sending them. So any number over one's good. See, it's filling up nicely now. And what that means, have we filled up the seeds yet? Yes, we do. So 90% of the seeds that come through here are excess. Use up one at a time, and as you can see, it spits in plenty and spits out the rest. So we've got ample there going into here. Seeds are only worth a couple of EMC. They're really pretty valueless, but it all helps. It's the string that's the real value. Let me demonstrate that. So if you get flax seeds and you get string, there we go, a stack of flax seeds will go on something like bone meal, it will go like that, but with these it's pretty much one to a bone meal, but with flax it's several to a bone meal. Now this is almost full, so let's just give it a little bit of a kickstart. Put a few more things in there. We don't need this anymore. That'll do it. Load of diamonds. There we go. Okay. Filling up, come on. And we are full, almost. So now all the excess will disappear down here into this chest. No problems. And as you can see, you get a sensible amount towards the diamonds. And this is all pure profit, self-sustaining. And that is the level 1 basic flax farm. Well, I think the level 1 is the ones that aren't feeding themselves. Actually, I've seen quite a few out there where they don't use energy collectors or anything like that to feed themselves. But okay, let's call this the level 2. So the one I'm going to show you in a sec is a level 3. Look, we've got a diamond already. Whoa. So yeah, this feeds itself quite nicely. Sweet. And you can leave that going as long as you want. I think you can up it a little bit and it'll still work alright. It all depends on the delays you've set on other stuff. So that's getting a little bit close there. You don't want it to start breaking before it's deploying and such, because the tick still comes round again. If you're really clever about it, I've done one of these before where you wire the output from that directly into the input from here, and what it means is after they've ticked, if you add another delay there basically, after these have ticked it will delay and go back round to these ones again, so you can completely do away with the timer altogether. In fact, let's see if I can get that running. Whoops, stupid water. It's not too difficult to do, and it's self-sustaining after that then. Not quite. Let's break it and stop the signal. And kickstart it. Oh, I've gone and chucked all my dirt away now, haven't I? Okay. And there you go. Save yourself a timer. So you don't even need that now, all you need is a button to start the thing off and you're sorted. Not bad, eh? But like I say, this can be made an awful lot neater. This is one of the messiest ones I've ever done, just for the sheer showing what's going on kind of thing. Was that stuck then? No, wasn't it? Still got plenty of throughput. If stuff's happening too fast to see, then just check the pipes and you'll know it's working. So yeah, that's level 1. On to level 2, 3. That wasn't very clever of me. I accidentally clicked the X button. So I've lost everything I've done, but it's okay because I'm starting from scratch here. So yet again you need flax seeds and you need to have water there. Let's just skip it. Yeah, it's going to grow eventually. Now, the wonderful item you've got this time, let's just add the breakers again. They don't change. You still need 2 breakers, as you did last time. That, isn't it? So you'll still be breaking the flax as you would normally. The wonderful item we've got this time, as I said before, is the assembler. Now this needs a deployer to make, and it also needs brass, bundled cable and red doped wafers. This you can think of as the Mark II deployer, which I think everyone pretty much does. Now what this lets you do is, let's place it in the right way, you can either set it so that it will deploy one thing, then another, then another, then another, in a row like that. I won't demonstrate that. Or if you click this is what I love about it, colour coded. Now you may think, what's the joy of that? Well, let me show you. If you grab a stack of bundled cable, or craft bundled cable, because that's what you should be doing, cheaters, and then you grab another timer. Luckily we saved one from the earlier build. Let's move that back a bit. Okay. Now then, if we grab a couple of different coloured cables... Oh, where have they all gone? Ah, there they are. So let's say blue and red. Those are lovely colours, not patriotic at all. So we stick a blue in there, and then we add ourselves a little delay. I could probably use a sequencer for this kind of job as well, but these are the ones I'm more familiar with at the moment. So, what you're thinking now is, that's how it works. If you add blue, oh, I've got to run out of, whatchamacallit, bone meal. Let's grab a few of them, grab a few of them. Oops. Okay, so blue will be the first thing to happen. So if you put flax seeds in blue, and it has to be the right blue because there's an awful lot of blues on this thing. This still hasn't changed to irrigated. So you add blue there, and then the second one to go would be red. So you add red there. Now you can stick with white cables if you want, and that works absolutely fine as well. Just got to wait for this damn thing. Skip to the... Ah, that's better. So, yes, anyway, you can see the first thing it does is nothing. And after that it does nothing as well. Right, so blue first, that's fine, flax seeds, and then red. Why is that not working now? It's working fine a second ago. It's definitely irrigated, so that's fine. Oh yeah, of course. I don't think these... Oh no, they are interacting. I was going to say these can't interact with it, but they can, can't they? Let's just move this back a bit to make sure. Right, let's just make sure it doesn't need like basic cables. Oh, go away you. So I should have checked this a second ago, shouldn't I? Okay, so we've got the basic blues coming up here. No, don't do that. Right, and that will connect to blue. And then we have the basic reds down here. See, that should definitely be working, because I used it a second ago. Oh, I see what I've done. I'm an idiot. You need to use the inventory. There. Now, one thing I have found on these is you need to make a decent delay before you do the second one, otherwise it will count as the same transaction. There you go. So you break these, and it doesn't like that, nice and neatly. Sorry, I really did have a blonde moment there, and yes, I am blonde in real life. My own stupidity stopped us working. So let's just make sure these can connect again to without using uncoloured cables. Yep, they can indeed. Right, so now you can connect up the rest of it as you would before. So you'd have the pneumatic tubes coming out of there, and you would have them breaking at different times and sending them off into different areas. Now you may ask, that's great, the only difference is you've changed 2 blocks for 1, so what's the benefits? Well, as you may have seen at the beginning of the video, the benefits are, once I can get back to my base, the benefits are that now, instead of having 1 farm space, 1 farm space, 1 farm space, you can do them all in a row. Because you only need to take up 2 sides with these machines. Now you can have these rows as long as you want, I'm assuming. This one's 9 long, but it has certain problems which I'll explain in a sec. You can see on this side I've got exactly the same as I had before, even this is messier than it should be. I've got a little timer going up here to trigger the top ones first via redstone tubing. If you're not sure how to make that, it's literally redstone plus pneumatic tubing, and that lets signals carry along it. But here's the kicker, it doesn't let red alloy signals go along it unless you have a red alloy, one of the standalone cables. Oh, what are they called? That's not important anyway. But then the delay goes along here and it sets the second one off, so these get harvested the same way as above, top, then bottom, and gone. Now these all go along here in a nice long row and go into this chest, which I just used as a basic buffer for now, because here I can filter anything string related into here to turn into bone meal. Let's put those back in there, and anything that is seeds go down this way, and the bone meal and seeds then come through here together, and they will flow along here and see where they can fit. Now I could not think of any better way to do it, to fill these in, other than basically filling in each of these sections to the top with each of the relevant types. This is the only way I could make sure that we had enough of each one in here. To be fair, I could fill every block with dirt except for 2 of them and have flax and bone meal in there and save myself an awful lot of EMC. But I thought this way would be best in case there's a blockage or something like that. Now I've used white and I've used red here, as you can see up this end, because it saves me some dye. Simple as that. And as you can see, the bone meal and seeds will flow along here and they will try and fit wherever they can. Lack of seeds, seeds go in, seeds come out that are spare. And there's 1 or 2 small bugs with it. Basically the end ones get neglected quite a bit. When you're first setting this off, the end ones go down to about 20 on one of the stacks before they get refilled, because as you can see, if they come out of there and there's one of these that have suddenly developed a gap, they will flow all the way back down to here, try and fill that gap, and then flow all the way along to the next one and try and fill that gap, and then flow all the way back down to the bottom. It's very messy, but once it's gone through for a little while and all of these are filling up nicely, it does start to work out quite well, and you get large bulk chunks coming through at once, where you get like 3 stacks of seeds appearing and a little bit of bone meal. You can see it does fill up quite well, and you've got loads and loads of excess, and you can fill up these diamonds with no trouble at all. Those have been, I harvested these when I started the video, so that's been what, 20-30 minutes worth of diamonds there, maybe 1 a minute then, let's say that. So that works out about 8,000 DMC a minute. 1,000 a second? No, what am I talking about? 1,000 every 10 seconds. How about that? Maybe even more. 1,200 every 10 seconds, let's say. But as you can see, it is a lot more efficient than it could have been, because this kind of room space would originally have maybe taken 2 or 3 of these farms if it wasn't for that new assembler block. And now we can have them all nicely stacked up in rows. Now, as I was saying before, if you want to make more of them in a row, you know, this thing could probably be 100 blocks long if you want, but as you can see, the problem with them all flowing back and forth means that the longer this is, the bigger the bottlenecks and the delay. God knows how many I've got in there now. In fact, if I stop this, so they're not deploying anymore, these will filter out, and you'll see the stupid amount of them that I've got going through the pipes. No, stacks and stacks and stacks, all just bottlenecked in there, bouncing back and forth. If anyone can think of a decent way to counter that, please let me know. My original theory was to use filters on top of each of these that would drag 1 bone meal and 1 seed from the chest on each tick, but I thought about the efficiency of that and didn't think it would work very well. Plus I don't think I'll be able to tick fast enough to keep up with the farms. So yeah, any other suggestions on that would be greatly appreciated. But what I think I can do is mirror this so that I have a row of assemblers on this side and then the seeds being planted behind them, and all of these breakers on further back again, so you'll be able to mirror flip them every time, which could work out alright. But yeah, I thought I'd show you guys what I've done with a Mark III assembler, let's say. 3, yeah. And hope you guys enjoy it. And I have to say, thank Direwolf for the original idea of the Flax machine, and it has come in very useful in a tight pinch, because you can do it underground. You don't need any kind of light or any other resource being used up other than the first bone meal and the first seed, and beyond that you're sorted. And it pays for the energy collectors, energy condensers in no time at all. Okay. See you guys later.